Hey, what is going on, everybody? Welcome to Upkick MMA episode 447. I am Brendan. All right, UFC Fight Night, Covington versus Buckley. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the rest of the fights on the main card, break them all down round by round. This is the last UFC card of the year. So before we get started talking about that stuff, if you like this kind of thing, subscribe to the channel. That way the next video is coming out, and I'd appreciate it if you find yourself liking this video. Hit the like button. That'd be super cool. All right, let's get into the fights. First of all, let's just talk about Joaquin Buckley's evolution as a fighter. Okay, obviously having that giant win over Impa Kasanganay back in, 2020, the viral knockout one where he got his foot caught during a kick, does a jumping spin kick and like a push kick even, like right to the face, and Kasanganay goes stiff as a board and falls down. Going from that being, just an absolute highlight reel, losing to Alessio Di Chirico a couple fights later, bouncing around, getting that weird guy from Detroit to be in his corner for one fight, winning 3 in a row, but then losing to Nasruddin Imavov and Curtis, and then realizing after the Fialho was on 70, so then he jumps down to 170 instead of 185, and has just been on an absolute tear, looking great. Last fight, he beat Stephen Thompson, and now he's got the win over Colby Covington. So let's talk about this fight and how it went down. Not the most satisfying finish to it, but it looked like this was kind of how it was going to go anyway. So Covington really has to weather the storm in the first round here, but Buckley, he just didn't make Buckley pay as the fight went on. I think Covington's time as an elite fighter, it's just ending, right? Like, he can still keep up with these guys, but it's not going to be, I don't think he's fighting for a title again, barring some crazy circumstances. Buckley's forcing him to the warning track. Covington fails on his first shot, and Covington gets cut. That's a big story. Buckley staying tight with his strikes. Covington not able to really get anything going. Covington misses a kick, and Buckley drops him with a right hand. It was more of an off-balance thing, but it looked bad at the time. Clearly his round 10-9, outstriking him 23-10. Looking great going in the second round. Big cut over the right eye of Covington. Gets worse and worse as the fight goes on. Covington not able to get any takedowns, but he is really trying to keep the pressure on early in the second round. Buckley digging the hooks to the body, finding the mark with that right hand, using that jab. Covington just a step behind on the feet. Nothing he was doing was working. Covington finally able to get the takedown at 330. Not able to do anything with it. They get back up after about 90 seconds. Just not enough offense from him, right? He's not using his jab. His right eye is full of blood. Buckley taking a hard left hand, but returning and then landing some of those shots to the body. Clearly his round again, 28-19. It didn't seem like Covington was mounting any sort of sustainable offense, but he did do better in this round. So going into the third round, I had a 20-18. Buckley landing some hard body shots. Covington landing a spinning kick, just not able to sustain anything. Always on the back foot. That eye is bleeding really bad. Covington again with the low single, trying to get this fight to the ground. Buckley steps back over it, tries for the inverted triangle. Can't get that one. And then 18 seconds left to go in the round. The ref calls the doctor in, and she says that he's going to lose his eyelid. So Dan Miragliotta waves it off. So kind of a crappy ending. It looked like Buckley was going to win this that way. I don't know if he would have gotten the finish. Covington's a really tough guy, so it's not that he would have necessarily finished him, but would like to see more of a definitive ending and not a doctor stoppage. He did cause the cut with a left hand. I'm always not suspicious, but I always wonder about when you land those hooks, especially if you catch someone with a fingernail, especially like the thumb with how it's placed, and it goes across, you are much more likely to cut with a fingernail than you are by stretching the skin out, right? The skin does have an amount of elasticity where it will give eventually. That's why you can cut someone just by punching them, right? It stretches the skin past the point where it can recover and it splits open. But you are much more likely to cut someone with a sharp object or a hard object like a fingernail. So I always wonder if that's happening, and then the fight gets stopped because of that, was that really a skill thing, or was it just not even a freak accident? Like, Covington's been beat up pretty bad. He's probably got a lot of scar tissue on his face. So great performance by Buckley. I'm not taking anything away from him. He looked fantastic. And then he lets the crowd decide. He's like, man, I see a lot of y'all leaving early. That's a shame because I'm going to let you guys decide. So he says 3 names. He says Leon Edwards doesn't get a big applause. Kamaru Usman gets a relatively large applause. And then Bilal Muhammad also got a decent amount of applause. So Usman gets the call out, which is smart because if you look at the rankings here, Shavkat's likely to get the next title shot. Obviously, after that fight with Gary, that was kind of a title eliminator. So Rakhmonov is most likely to get the title shot, right? And Kamaru Usman, it's kind of been idle. Let's see what happens. I think that's a great fight for Buckley. I think if he can beat Usman after beating Covington, it shows that he can handle the wrestling, at least their version of the wrestling, and then getting up to Bilal Muhammad. He's a different type of animal when it comes to that kind of stuff, but that's a great fight. So if he can get past the Usman test, then I will be very interested in his title shot. Great fighter at 170. 185 he was fine. It's just he was getting bullied around. All right, Cub Swanson versus Billy Quarantillo. It is going to be hard to fight the bias and the smiles in this one. I love Cub Swanson. Leg kicks from these guys, with Swanson's being more creative, of course, leaping in for the body hooks, using that lead hook like that. Big low kick and a great right hand for Swanson. Quarantillo wanting to keep the pressure on, finding some success with shots. It's just he's not landing anything so significant, and Swanson is still so freaking smooth, ducking out of the way, coming over the top with an odd left hand, right? We'd have to go back and watch tape, but the way he lands is just so unconventional, so creative, and it's still technical. It's beautiful stuff. On the feet, Swanson looking great as long as he doesn't gas. Quarantillo finally able to land more than one after countering a low kick. But again, Swanson just plants, and big right hand from Swanson down the stretch. Quarantillo gets a takedown, close round, but I think Swanson did more damage overall. Wasn't really wobbled by that big shot that came back at him, and he outlanded him here 39-37. It was a close round. That control time does nothing for me because I think the damage clearly went to Swanson. Right? If Swanson had really wobbled and almost fallen or dropped from that shot that Quarantillo did, I think I would have leaned towards Quarantillo, but he didn't. So we can only go off of what we saw, and it did not appear that Swanson was hurt that bad. Second round, in the middle of an exchange in tight, Cub Swanson looks down at the feet, right, as he's dodging punches, and then kicks one of the legs out from underneath Quarantillo to offset his balance. So freaking cool, man. Swanson fights his way off the fence with 4 hard right hands. Quarantillo landing a knee, able to pressure into the clinch. Trying to he was trying to slow Swanson down, maybe go for set up some grappling exchanges. Quarantillo wanting that takedown, just not able to hold it or do anything with it. Swanson hurt him with a right hand, lands a left head kick. Quarantillo gets right back in his face. He's so freaking tough. Close round with Quarantillo winning some grappling exchanges and doing enough damage, in my opinion. So looking at the scorecards here, we had it 40-38 in favor of Swanson. Not the scorecard, sorry, the striking numbers. 40-38 in favor of Swanson, but I do feel like Quarantillo did enough damage, and with the grappling exchanges leading those, that made the difference for me. Right, so I had it for Quarantillo. If you gave it to Swanson, I understand, but I had it 19-19 going to third round. And then last round, Swanson finding that jab, landing some hard right hands, slipping the headshots coming back at him. Quarantillo keeps shooting, wanting that takedown, really wants the grappling exchanges. Swanson getting that huge right hand, and he lands it and puts him right the fuck out. Let's fucking go. Right, that step-in lead hook and that straight right hand folds him, and he comes out and he's like, I know, he's like, I know I told my wife this might be my last one, and everybody starts like, oh no, like, boo, don't do that, and he's like, I'm kind of old, guys, and thank you for letting a 40-year-old dad come out here and fight for you. So again, how do you not love Cub Swanson? Love watching him fight, always interesting, so much fun. Looking at the scorecards, Troy Winkapaw gave that second round to Swanson. That's not horrible. Chris Lee and Eric Colon gave that second round to Quarantillo, so that's understandable. Not bad. All right. Let's go to some sloppiness, shall we? Oh, my goodness. Yeah, Manel Kape taking on Bruno Silva. This fight was very sloppy both ways, but only at the end, it was mainly Bruno Silva. Silva lands early and Kape able to land. These guys are really freaking fast, so quick. The lead left hook from Kape is landing when he jumps in with it and catches him on the way in with a 1-2. Kape landing a stiff jab, pausing Silva. Holy shit, he's just landing so well to start. Big right hands from Silva, but he just can't follow up with them. Kape moving so well. Silva kicks him in the nuts one time. One time for the... Okay, I can't sing that song. Silva is behind in the striking, and every time he goes for the clinch, Kape just shoves him off. And okay, another nut kick from Silva and no point deduction. That's great. Silva just a step behind for most of the round. Silva looking for that takedown, just not liking, not striking with Kape, but Kape throws him off again. He just was not liking the striking is what I meant to say. It came out just as weird as I wrote it. That lead hook from Kape has been money all night, and Silva spinning around, and Kape watches him and then lands a bunch of hooks and slides out of the way of a big right hand coming back at him, and then again Silva kicks him in the nuts, and finally gets a point deduction. Silva has a whole bunch of energy, spinning and swinging. Now that he, nice little break for him because he kicked the guy in the nuts 3 times. Kape is picking him apart, and Silva just has no answer other than to swing big. Kape putting on a show out there. So 39-27 for striking numbers in the second round, even though Silva got like 4 or 5 shots that he definitely would not have gotten had he not had that break. Silva going out swinging big with those right hands. Some of them are landing, but Kape avoiding them. And after missing, Silva often backs out and shells up, and that's when Kape starts going to the body, making Silva wince. A potential low blow from Kape, and Silva protests, but he gets finished in the process. He was getting tooled up. Do I think that he got kicked low? It was hard to tell from the views that they saw. If you watch it live, it was really difficult. So I don't know, but I will say that it looked like a mostly clean kick with a graze of the cup. You're not allowed to touch the cup, so that's still a bad low blow. But if you're going low blow for low blow, it happened to him 3 times, and he kicks him once and ends up getting the finish. So, I don't feel bad. I don't feel bad for Silva in this fight after fouling the guy 3 times. And he gets fouled once, and he's like, oh, come on, man. Yeah, dude. Then drop. You should have dropped, and then you could deal with it. You either defend yourself at all times or play it up. You can't just talk to the referee and be like, hey, that hurt my nuts. Can't do that. All right, let's talk about another exciting fight. There was a lot of exciting fights on this card. Vitor Petrino versus Dustin Jacoby. This one actually had a lot of lull in it, but it ended with excitement. Tentative start from both guys, waiting and measuring. Petrino wanting to land that big shot, and Jacoby trying to find his entries. Petrino walking him down, walking through the leg kicks, which aren't coming enough, in my opinion, from Jacoby. Petrino overly aggressive, getting caught in the clinch range, and some tight hooks, wobbled for a second. So even in tight, Jacoby able to land hard. And Petrino just was not throwing enough. Jacoby took advantage of this and outstruck him. I thought it was more than this, but apparently it was only a 2-strike differential, 12-10 in favor of Jacoby, but that was enough. And he did hurt him in tight. Petrino really wants to walk him to the cage and set his stance wide, swing big, and Jacoby just staying tight and countering. Jacoby is frustrating Petrino with jabs and movement, and then landing a low kick every so often. Then Petrino will start to just throw. Jacoby puts his guard up and then moves, and that cycle repeated over and over again. Petrino lands a hard right hand that shakes Jacoby's balance for a second, and then back to range fighting, just like they have been. Petrino was able to do more damage in this round, and Jacoby's output wasn't enough. 19-18 in favor of Petrino. He clearly won this round. So I had it 19-19 going to the third round. Petrino pushing into the clinch and looking for the takedowns, just nothing there for him. Jacoby keeping him at bay with switch stance jabs. Petrino not as in as much. Oh my God. Oh yeah. He's not able to have success that much on the feet, so he keeps wanting those takedowns, gets the back body lock position along the fence, trying to stall, but then Jacoby gets away, and then a huge right hand lands, and Petrino falls like he folded like a goddamn shirt on the ground. That hype train has hit a few roadblocks. Petrino's not as exciting. It's not as exciting having 2 losses in a row like that. Let's see here. All three judges had the same way in the first 2 rounds. I just wanted to check just to see where we were at. They all saw it the same way I did. So anyway, Petrino now 2 losses. I think he lost to Anthony Smith, getting subbed and now knocked out by in a fight that he may or may not have been winning. Like it was really that was a close round, so we could have seen it. But like even if he doesn't get finished by that big right hand, like that still wobbles him, right? And Jacoby was going to be way ahead on the cards up until that point. So it is what it is. Jacoby looked fantastic. I'm excited to see what happens again. Maybe he makes it and finds a way to get into a title. I just don't see it. Adrian Yanez taking on Daniel Marcos. Almost done, guys. Almost done. Stick with me here. We will get through these last 2 fights. Yanez looking quick with that snappy jab and using the follow-up. Marcos sitting down on his low kicks. Yanez able to catch him on the end of his punches, but Marcos finds the mark with a huge right hand, forcing Yanez to back up. A really bad eye poke and a nut shot at the exact same time from Marcos. And people are saying like, oh, well, it was unintentional. But intention is irrelevant when it comes to the fight. Intention only matters after the fight is over, has been declared over, and then you can decide based off that intention, whether it's a DQ, a no contest, or a draw, a DQ, a no contest, or what, or a win, based off of how far you've gone into the fight, right? So intent is irrelevant. The effect of the foul is what matters, and he got poked in the eye and kicked in the nuts at the same time. Should have been a point deduction, which would have affected the outcome of this. So anyway, Yanez finds the mark but stays in the pocket too long now, and Marcus will land harder. That's the problem. He keeps staying in, waiting for it, and then Dean Thomas, after I write that, like in the next round, Dean Thomas comes in and says the exact same thing. Marcos doing much more damage this round than Yanez. He needs to move in and out much more and exit instead of just staying in there, right? 29-24 in favor of Marcos. Doing more damage, having him up 10-9. Second round, oh shit, Yanez lands a hard left hook, staggering him, and now able to keep that output high. Both guys going in, landing mostly with boxing, but the kicks are there for Yanez, where it's just not coming from Marcos. Yanez can be so much cleaner, but he lets Marcos come back with the shots over the top way too much. Yanez having a great round. He should get the nod for the damage. 41-39 for striking numbers in favor of Yanez, and he rocked him. Clearly his round, 19-19. Last round here, staying in tight. Both guys swinging cleaner stuff from Yanez, landing flush a few times. So Marcos goes takedown, and then so much for going on. Not much going on here except for control until like 40 seconds left in this round. Left hand from Marcos, but Marcos literally walking away, turns his back, walks away, and tries to stay away. I don't know why the referee wasn't punishing him and forcing him to turn around. He did it more than once. Kind of a bullshit way to win, just walks away to get the victory for 40 seconds. That's a significant period of time. We're not talking about 5 seconds here. So I had him winning 29-28, but it should have been 28-28. It should have been 28-28. Chris Lee, what the hell? Did Chris Lee give that? Chris Lee gave both of the last rounds to Yanez. Okay. Derek clearly wasn't watching the fight. Second round was obviously Yanez's. Eric Colon scored it correct. Good grief. So split decision win. Should not have been a split decision based off what we got. Should have been a point deduction. Should have been a draw, but that's not what we had. You can't take points. What is that? Post. Forget it. It doesn't matter. My brain ain't working. We're on the last one. First fight of the night here. Navajo Stirling versus Tokkos. Not the most interesting fight. Tokkos trying with the low kick, circling the outside. Stirling going with the jab and chasing him. Stirling is starting to apply his game plan, making Tokkos stay close to the cage as he lands the 1-2. Body kicks are hurting Tokkos really bad. He wants to clinch. Tokkos shelling up, really trying to avoid the damage, but he's in a bad spot, falling forward, off balance. Stirling not able to get the finish in this round, although it looked like in multiple points he could have. 21-10 for striking numbers in his favor. I still just gave it a 10-9. I didn't have it a 10-8. Second round, Tokkos getting the single leg up and then to the back body lock. Just can't do anything with it, and it's back to shelling up along the fence. Stirling looking a little tired now, not throwing as much and even going for a takedown himself, but it's still his round. So 22-10 in favor of Stirling. But yeah, at 28-18. Last round, Stirling doesn't have the same sting on his shots in the last round. Despite landing clean, Tokkos is able to pressure forward now. Stirling tracking him down the whole round. Stirling only finding success in the clinch, but not much damage. 35-12. Not a lot to take away from this one other than that Tokkos is just not on Stirling's level. All right, that is it for the main card. The prelims will be on the next video. I appreciate you all for stopping by. If you like this kind of thing, like I said at the top, subscribe to the channel. That way the next video is coming out. I'd really, really, really appreciate it. Yeah, if you guys did find yourself liking the video, hit the like button. I'd appreciate that too. So thank you guys. Have an amazing week. Love y'all. Peace.